Welcome to the Cinefied Podcast, the show where we enlighten you on what film to watch next by breaking it down so you can decide if you should see it in theaters or wait to watch it at home. I'm Cassie Hager. Joining me are fellow members of the Cinefied team, our editor-in-chief Connor Petrie, critic Peter Gray, and Tyler Strandberg. Hi, guys. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Hello, thank you.
All right.
Hello.
So today we're talking about Bugonia, which is a very dark comedy by Yorgos Lanthimos about two cousins who bite off way more than they can chew when they kidnap the CEO of a major pharmaceutical company. It's a movie that kept me captivated even from the nosebleed section of Royal Albert Hall in London when I saw it at LFF. And it answers the question I think we've all been wondering for most our lives. What would Emma Stone look like bald? And I'm so glad we now have the answer. So the plot synopsis is as follows. Two conspiracy-obsessed men kidnap the CEO of a major company when they become convinced that she's an alien who wants to destroy Earth. And you can check out the full review that I wrote on Cinefied.com. In which I wrote in part, Yorgos' finale is a big swing. For me, it's a hit, but I can see others being totally turned off by it. The final 10 minutes will make or break the film for a lot of people. And in the end, Bugonia's wit and biting social commentary make it his greatest film to date. That is in my opinion, of course. So before we get to our spoiler-free thoughts, we're going to go around and share our thoughts, ratings. Is that what we're doing? Correct?
Yes.
I think we might have switched it up a bit, but I can't remember. Okay, so we're going around to share our ratings, right? Should we start with you, Connor?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, sure. I am currently sitting at, this is a maybe, which is a half popcorn score on the Cinefied scale. I'm still very conflicted about this movie as a whole. I do think that there's a lot of good in here. I think the performances are terrific throughout. But I think I've just learned I'm just not a big fan of Yorgos's writing. But I do think that I've not seen all of his films, to be fair, but I've seen most of them. And to me, this is by far his most not weird one. And that's saying something, because I mean, I maybe the favorite, that one's pretty straightforward too, but I'll leave it at that, because I definitely want to hear what everybody else thinks.
Okay, well, for me, it's definitely, like I said, it's my favorite one that I've seen from him. It's very much a full for me. I enjoyed it so much more than I thought I was going to, because I'm not historically the biggest fan of this director, so I was pleasantly surprised. I guess I wasn't expecting as much going in, just because, like I said, I don't love his movies that much. So, but I really enjoyed this movie. Like, I can't wait. To me, it seems like it would be really rewatchable, and I'm really excited to watch it again. So that's my rating. Peter, let's go to you. What do you think?
I'm a fan of Yorgos's work. Like, I've seen all of his stuff, and it's quite funny that this would probably, next to The Favorite, I would say this is probably his most accessible title. Obviously the last sort of 10-15 minutes takes in a different direction, but he just makes weird, dark, satirical shit, and it's awesome. And I think the funny thing is, like, so you were talking about kind of his writing. So this is like one of the few films that he hasn't written. So the guy that wrote this wrote The Menu, which I think kind of leans into the mentality of the film. It's a remake of a South Korean film as well. But I kind of love that there's a bit of like cynicism to this. Like, it's funny how Hollywood kind of thinks of itself as being the center of everything, and he's just made a movie that's like, mankind isn't great, so I'm going to show you what I think should happen. But no, I agree. Like, Emma Stone's performance is incredible. I think she's absolutely like one of her generation's like top performers. Everything she does is She just chooses really, really interesting projects, and obviously her and Yorgos have made magic together. And Jesse Plemons is incredible in this. But I just like that it's sort of really self-contained. Small location, small cast. It has a lot to say, but I kind of love that it's going to piss people off if it does. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah. Okay. Tyler.
Yeah. You said that you feel that the last 10 minutes could either really work or not work for people, and for you, it really did. For me, it personally really did not work. Based off just all the conversation we've been throwing around here, as far as Yorgos Lanthimos, this movie solidified for me, like, I'm really not a fan. I've seen many of his movies, and the only one that I liked was The Favorite, and even then it was kind of like an apprehensive, like, it was like, oh, that's a bit weird for me, but I think it's kind of funny and it works. Everything else that I've seen of his, I just really, really have not enjoyed. And this movie worked for a good majority for me, so I was really kind of surprised by that. There was like a pivotal moment in the ending that really just kind of caught me off guard, and it didn't work for me. Unfortunately, I felt like it kind of ruined the whole experience for me, which wasn't really a great feeling. I love Emma Stone. I think she's an amazing actress, and I hate that she has tied herself to this director so much, because I wish I could see more of her work that I really enjoy watching.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like Evan Peters and Ryan Murphy. It's like, what do you have on him, or what does he have on you? You know?
Right.
But I guess when you like working with someone, you like working with someone. All right. Well, I love that. I love hearing all these different opinions. And yeah, when you watch it, it's like, oh, people are going to really love this or really hate this. And clearly that is evidently the case. So, all right, guys. So we will go into, I guess, some questions that I have for you guys when I was thinking back about this movie. So talking about Emily Stone. Peter, you were saying she is like the greatest of this generation, one of the greatest. And I totally agree. Like, it took me a while. I thought, I don't know, she was kind of overhyped for a while, but I'm like, no, I totally get it now. Like, she couldn't phone it in if she tried. She's so talented. She just acts from her head to her tippy toes, like everything she does. She's amazing. So
was there a turning point that made you feel that way?
Yeah, like this movie, honestly, it took a while.
All right.
Yeah, I know. Call me a hater. I don't know. I'm still not there with Jennifer Lawrence. Sorry. Anyway, so I was thinking the whole time I was watching this, I was like, was last year Poor Things already, or was that 2 years ago? Time, who knows?
Poor Things was 2023. Yeah.
Okay, but that was just
crazy.
like the okayest movie to me. Like, it was fine, and like everyone was just so obsessed with it, and I didn't really get it. But I was thinking, I mean, I get what they were doing. It just wasn't for me, I should say. So I was thinking when I was watching this, like, oh God, can they just like scratch off Poor Things and write Bugonia on there? I loved her in this movie so much. So as far as Oscar contender worthiness, like, where do you guys stand on this for Emma Stone or for anyone else in this cast?
I think it's one of those things where, like, maybe because it's come so close to Poor Things, that does that kind of cancel it out? Because I mean, the best actress race this year is like stacked, so it's hard to know if she'll get in. I think Globe wise, I think she'll get a nomination. She could possibly win a Golden Globe for this. Oscar, I don't know. She deserves an Oscar nomination, but I don't know if she'll get one just because of how stacked the category is. Obviously now we're seeing so much conversation around if a movie does well at the box office, does it get Oscar nominations, which is the stupidest thing and is a whole other tangent, because technically One Battle After Another is a box office flop. But
Yeah.
hey, anyway, but I think if it does get nominated, I think Jesse Plemons has a really good shot at best supporting actor, because him and Emma Stone kind of really carry the film. I just love he's just, there's so much tragedy and so much trauma built into his performance that you can tell that whatever has happened before this movie is terrifying, because obviously there's the stuff with the cop, there's the stuff with his mother. I think Aiden Delbis as Don, his cousin, is incredible, and that's a whole heartbreaking situation in itself as well. I don't think it should be counted out of the awards contention, but I just think so soon after Poor Things, I don't think people are going to give her another Oscar.
And that's what I'm saying. It's a shame, because I wish I could swap the two,
Well, it's the same thing I feel with,
We're
obviously
gonna say the same thing. No,
Kiss of the Spider Woman feels like it's dead in the water, which it shouldn't be. But after Amelia Perez, we're not gonna give another musical? And you look at Amelia Perez and go, that's the movie you want to give awards to? Okay. So yeah, that's a whole other thing. But I do think Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone have a good chance and should be in the conversation. But whether or not Emma Stone gets in there is another thing.
Sorry, go ahead, Tyler. I saw yours go off.
No, you're so I feel like Best Actress has a lot of contenders for it right now. I think that there's probably 3 or 4, I would say maybe 3 that have a really strong chance. I mean, it's November, so I still don't want to say anyone's pretty quote unquote solidified. But I do think as of right now, we have Jessie Buckley for Hamnet is pretty for sure getting in. As someone who saw that movie, I think she is definitely getting in. Renate Rizvanta, we were just talking about pronouncing names, and I probably mispronounced that name, and it's a big pet peeve of mine, and I hate that I'm doing it right now. But
that sounded really good. So
okay, cool. For Sentimental Value, Renate Rensby, that's what it is. My apologies. And then I think Cynthia Erivo is going to get in. I didn't think she was going to make it in last year, and she did. So I think it's a no-brainer. She's going to make it in again this year. It's that 4 and 5 slot that really is kind of open right now. I mean, we have Amanda Seyfried for The Testament of Anne Lee. We have Rose Byrne for If I Have Legs, I'd Kick You.
That's who I need to get in, because she is incredible in that film.
Yeah. I think Chase Infinity personally is going to get that lead actress nomination. I don't see how you nominate one battle after another for everything, and she is so clearly the lead actress of that movie. I think she's gonna pull through and end up getting a nomination. But again, she's part of that mix of names where she's kind of on the bubble, she's kind of not. There's one person in particular that has very strong feelings about Kate Hudson for Song Sung Blue, that thinks that she is going to potentially win. I am not sold on that either, and I think that's a whole conspiracy theory. But I think Emma Stone is kind of in that bubble of names. I think at the end of the day, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. I personally do not believe in giving Oscars for bad movies. And so even though I think her performance is incredible, I personally would not give her a nomination. I think that if I was just looking at the category itself, I'd put her in pretty easily. But again, that's my personal belief. I don't believe in giving an award to a bad movie as a whole, no matter how good certain aspects of it are. I know I'm very rare in that opinion, and not very many people do hold that. And the Academy really loves Emma Stone. They really, really like her. I think she's going to sneak in for a nomination here. I'm not sure if Jesse Plemons is going to be a campaign for lead or supporting. Have they announced that yet?
No, I don't think so.
They've announced it, but I feel like he's got a better chance in supporting.
I mean, I feel like he has a better chance in that category as well, but he's obviously also the lead actor of that movie.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think he's going to get a lead acting nomination. And Supporting actor is also pretty stacked as well. So he might get in, he might not. I think that he also has a really good performance. But I think Emma Stone is going to sneak in there just because of how much the Academy really likes her.
I do think this is probably more of a Golden Globe movie in terms of definitely getting, because obviously you can, the drama comedy split helps. So I'd be shocked if both are locked out of Globes. Definitely. Oscars still, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think Jesse Plemons will definitely get a lead actor Golden Globes nomination, and I think Emma Stone will get in there as well, obviously. Yeah, I don't know as to whether or not. We'll see how this season plays out. I feel like this year is really interesting so far because the last few years we've had a very clear, like, yep, this is who our nominees are going to be by October or November at around this time. And this one, it's like there's still a few that it's just like we don't know, and I'm excited to see how everything plays out.
Yeah, Connor, anything to add?
Go ahead, Peter.
I was just going to say, I was shocked that, talking about just quickly about how we sort of thought we knew who frontrunners were. Like, I was shocked that Dwayne Johnson is now just not in conversation, because you can dislike that movie, you can dislike him. I was like, that performance is undoubtedly like an award-worthy performance, and I'm kind of shocked that he's now they've gone, that movie made no money, let's not talk about it anymore, which is crazy to me because he seemed like he's worthy of being nominated just because of that performance. But
yeah, as far as my opinion on it, I think that, as I said, I think the performances are fantastic here, but I mean, like we've kind of said, this film in general to me just more screams the Globes than Oscars. It just feels, it's just something about it just makes me think more that way. Before you said something, Peter, you could have figured out from my opening statements, I had no idea that this was not written by Yorgos, and I had no idea it was a remake or a reimagining, or however you want to say it. So if this did get anything like beyond acting, I could really just see it. Even though I did not like the script, I get that it's people seem to really like the screenplay. So I guess it'd be adaptation, or not adaptation, adapted screenplay. Yeah. So
it probably feels more like a Globes movie because it is so funny, right? I mean, yeah.
But I mean, it's funny, like, it's like you take Emma Stone's performance in 2023 and you take Mikey Madison's performance last year. So technically they have given comedy performances the awards, and it's like comedy's always so left out of the conversation. But, there's the other thing of like,
There's a spectrum though. Like when I think of Poor Things as a comedy and compare it to like Bugonia as a comedy, it's just it's not what we think of when we think of comedy performances. But it is kind of, when you look at it technically, like, they don't dislike comedy, they just like comedy when it's shrouded in drama or weirdness or something. Right.
I have kind of a weird question. As someone that has not seen all of Yorgos' films, but the ones that I have seen, Kinds of Kindness, Poor Things, The Favorite, it seems like he does not make films without any kind of, like, it feels like even in a small instance, there's nudity in his films. And I feel like this film has zero nudity. Which is there. I always like, I thought that was interesting, because I like Poor Things is like to the extreme, but then Kinds of Kindness, it feels kind of forced in there. There's like the whole sex scene and whatnot that doesn't really have a purpose in that film. Yeah. And it's just, I just thought that was I wonder if that is kind of like maybe because he didn't write this script and he didn't like, that's why, but it just seems kind of like, it's like there are moments where he could have just put like an obvious like nudity a little bit, but he made it more mainstream. So
her head was naked.
Yeah.
I think it was like his other films from, like, I can't really think of.
I can't remember if The Lobster had nudity.
Yeah. But I think that's also just like the European sensibility, like especially Poor Things. I think they're just like, they're like, no one gives a shit about people being naked in Europe in movies. So it's like it really is quite funny how it's like, American movies just like, we'll chop his head off, that's fine. Oh, God forbid we show like any sort of nudity. So I think Yorgos, he kind of just like leans into the fact that he's like, I'm an eccentric Greek man. I will do whatever I want. And you've got Emma Stone fully just being up to task, and it's that whole thing of like, bare your body, get an Oscar. It seemed to work. But I also think the nudity in Poor Things was necessary. Like, I don't think that was.
No, I think it's necessary in Poor Things. I didn't think it was necessary in Kinds of Kindness. Like that, but that's like a weird anthology.
But Kinds of Kindness is probably closer to early Yorgos, where it's like, because I think after The Favourite and Poor Things, people were expecting Kinds of Kindness to kind of be that mainstream but weird, whereas Kinds of Kindness was just like kind of fucking weird. And Bugonia's kind of gone back to being mainstream but weird, but they're kind of the almost like exceptions out of the fact that he does make very dark things that manage. And I think you just put a name to it and people will go, oh, Emma Stone's in it, it can't be that weird. And we're like, oh, but it is. So
yeah. Did any of you going into the film know that Alicia Silverstone was in this?
No, that's my next question. Actually, is about Alicia Silverstone.
I knew she was in it.
Okay,
but
I was just like, what's happening?
But it was one of those things where, like, I knew she was in it, but then as you're watching it, you kind of like not thinking of it. So when she popped up, I was like, that's right, she's in this movie. And I love that Alicia Silverstone is still like.
Me too. That was my thought exactly. I loved seeing her in this. I thought it was so cool.
She's offsetting this with that weird Netflix Christmas movie.
I didn't know she had a weird Netflix Christmas movie.
I requested that and I already forgot I requested it. So. I'm just. We'll probably go over this. I'm going to leave it alone. Never mind. I'll come back to it if we don't talk about it.
Okay. Well, yeah, I was going to bring up Alicia Silverstone and how much I loved seeing her in this movie that's, one of the bigger movies coming out this year. And I was wondering if she had some sort of connection to Yorgos or someone else in the cast. I don't know. I was just wondering how that happened. But either way, I loved seeing her in it, and I think it's so cool. She's, like you said, it is a small cast. I think she's like 5th or 6th billed on IMDb or something like that. So anyway, yeah, shout out to Alicia Silverstone. Like, who doesn't love seeing Cher?
In your screen, sorry, I'm assuming because Cassie, you said you saw this at LFF.
Yeah.
I'm guessing Connor and Tyler, did you see this at a media screening?
No, I just saw it Friday.
Okay.
So,
because I'm just wondering, because at the media screening here, like when Alicia Silverstone, and I was just wondering if it happened when Alicia Silverstone was on screen, there was kind of this like small wave of like, oh, like oh, she's here, like people like going, oh my god, it's Alicia Silverstone. Like it was this kind of like murmuring of like, is that Alicia Silverstone? So I just was wondering if there was a reaction.
There was no reaction. There was a reaction in my head, but I did not hear a physical audible reaction from anyone around me, surprisingly.
I did look up her participation in the film, and it says that it's likely because of her killing of a sacred deer.
Oh, killing of a sacred deer, right.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Because I just thought, because she's gone on, she had that whole sort of anti-vax thing, and I do think it's kind of funny that, and with her role in this, it's kind of like
I didn't know she did that. Why did you have to tell me that?
Yeah,
I didn't want to know that about her.
It's pretty spot on with it's like, I'll do it if you, but don't let them do it to you.
Oh, that's
funny.
It,
like what her character, I guess, goes through and all that sort of stuff. It's like, And are we doing spoilers at any point?
Yeah, we can jump in the spoilers now.
Okay, because I did want to bring up the fact about Alicia Silverstone, because obviously the ending of the film, we hear that conversation where the Emma Stone's boss or leader or whatever says, and she's like, there's only like, there's like two people left or something. And I thought at the end, when we get all of those kind of like horrific shots of the world and just deadness, I thought because she was telling the truth about the cupboard and everything, and she told Jesse Plemons, like, oh, if you give your mother the Hydra freeze, it'll cure her. I was fully expecting Alicia Silverstone to be alive at the end of that movie, because it was like she wasn't lying. And I thought that kind of would have been just an extra bit of heartbreak to show Alicia Silverstone like alive in a world where there's nothing. So I was just wondering, did anybody else sort of think that there was going to be that at all, or was it kind of just like?
Well, it took me a second to realize when you said cupboard that you mean closet, because I was like, what cupboard are you talking about? I was like, is that an Australian thing?
Like, yeah, clothes are in the cupboard. Sorry.
I did not, but I can definitely see why you would think that. I think I had probably forgotten about that at the time and was so focused on how insane the ending was. But
yeah, but no, it was just because Emma Stone sort of was basically telling the truth towards the end. So I thought, oh, maybe she actually did want to save the mother, but the evil CEO of her still couldn't let that one go. But.
Yeah, that's part of that was the turning point for me in the film, where it started to not work for me. I thought that Jesse Plemons' character was so meticulous with the study of these, I forget what he calls these aliens. They have a specific name to them, but it's escaping me right now. Anyway, he had so much knowledge about this, and the fact that Emma Stone's character kind of just like tricked him into pumping antifreeze into his comatose mother, I did not buy that at all, especially because the dialogue is so overt with it, where she says like, it's in an antifreeze bottle. It's not antifreeze. It'll look like antifreeze, but it's not antifreeze. And we as the audience can pick up, like, clearly it's just antifreeze. And I felt like Jesse Plemons' character was such a conspiratorial, like, person, where he should have saw right through that as well. He should have known about that. And the fact that he just bought it so instantly, it just really kind of set me off. And the chain of events afterwards really just kind of solidified that. It just made it became more and more unraveled for me, especially because then she was telling the truth about the closet and everything like that. Like, why would she? We're already set up to believe like she's lying about the antifreeze. We should believe that she's lying about the closet, and it's just too contradictory for me. It really makes the plot and these characters, especially Jesse Plemons' character, but hers as well, kind of fall apart, and then it really made the whole film not work for me.
Sure. My thinking was that he was just getting so desperate that he was willing to believe anything, I guess, was how I saw it. But yeah, no, I mean, I can see where you're coming from there, Tyler.
I did think with just, I don't know if it's just Cronenberg in my brain or whatnot, but when she went into the closet and then like it cut to her like that red water and whatnot, I was like, okay, well, obviously the teleportation worked. But then I was like, well, is it going to be like the Fly situation where it's just like a weird, like, redone like Jesse Plemons without a head coming out of the water? So, but yeah, I my audience was relatively quiet during the film, but there was a couple that would just pipe in every now and again, like this woman talking to her partner, I would imagine, and normally I didn't really care, but there's one that it just caught me off guard, and it was when they cut to that and she's coming out of the water, and then she is revealed there's aliens, and I just heard her audibly go, "What the fuck's going on right now?" So
Queen, yeah.
But it is kind of funny that it's like, I know that that's the first shot of the aliens, but you sort of think, really? That's the first moment where you ask what the fuck is going on? Because arguably up to that point, there's been a lot of like, you know.
I know.
crazy-
I said, what the fuck is going on when he put that spaghetti down and had like little to no sauce? I'm like, come on now. So,
Speaking of audience reaction, did the, I guess when Don grabs the gun and kind of says his, you know,
says his goodbyes.
essentially, like, did that kind of get a, like, you
Mhm.
obviously you can sort of telegraph that, but yeah, our audience, when he picked up the gun, there was like an immediate like,
Yeah.
oh god, don't, like, we know exactly where this is going. Yeah.
Yes, there was definitely a gasp, I think.
Mm.
That was pretty shocking and effective.
Yeah, I don't think there was really like an audible thing for that moment, but it definitely caught me off guard because while I did like, as soon as he started kind of like fumbling with the gun, I'm like, okay, well, that's what's about to happen. But I did not expect it to be like as just gory as it was in that one moment. So,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I don't know if like it's like he shot himself like that way. I'm like, I don't know if it would projectile that way, but whatever. So, but yeah, I mean that is just definitely a good shocking scene. Like definitely, I mean, you just knew that something like any film that has a cop like upstairs, you know, it's just like, of course something's going to happen. The cop's going to go, what's that? And then he's going to get killed. So, but yeah, whatever.
Except it's, you know, very sort of telling of Yorgos's, you know, dark mind that, you know, who should be the savior in this movie, the cop, is one of the biggest, you know, predators. Yeah. And just I really like, even though obviously that suggestion is horrible, but I do appreciate the fact that, you know, this script kind of, there were just small lines and small looks that really revealed like a much bigger story. Like, you know, the cop constantly sort of saying like, saying like, I'm really sorry what I did to you. Like, I didn't do it to anybody else. And Don, when they were talking about, you know, oh, we'll be going going to outer space and the aliens, and we'll negotiate for Earth, and then we can come back. And Don is like, do we have to come back? And you just sort of think, fuck, that just speaks to what kind of life he's lived. Because obviously he would have experienced, you know, so much bullying for being autistic and things like that. So I really just like that there's these really small moments of building like a much bigger world, and it sort of allows us to sort of piece together just what is motivating these two, because you can tell that their life on Earth has just been like horrific, that they're basically, their way of escaping is like, we'll go to another planet, and then we'll be the saviors of Earth, so then people will respect us.
Yeah. Well, you're stealing my thunder, Peter, because that was kind of going to be the next thing I was going to bring up, but that's okay. Because yeah, after I saw it and as I was thinking about it, you know, you'd think on the surface, it's the movie is it's like, what was that terrible movie, The Happening, where it's about, you know, how we're killing our planet, right? The planet is the victim here, but really, to me, I was just sort of thinking about how almost every character here was so victimized in a really tragic way. And at the surface, it's Emma Stone's character, right? Because she's the one who's physically restrained. But when you look at it, yeah, you look at Teddy and how it's so highly insinuated that he was, you know, I think SA'd is what they say on YouTube, by the police officer. And then you look at Don, who, I mean, your heart really broke for him, because you could just tell that he was so easily influenced and didn't have any like good positive role models or anything like that. And to me, it just kind of, I feel like the broader message of this movie is just how in, I guess, modern times we're all just a victim of something, right? And we're all just so desperate to escape. So to me, you know, as funny as it is, that was, as I thought about it more and more after, it was kind of like, no, like everyone in this movie was such a victim, and not just the person who was chained up in the basement. You know, so yeah, my question to you was like, did you think about that? Did you think like who did you feel the most sorry for in this movie, or anything like that?
I mean, I feel like I felt the most sorry for Don, just because he was kind of thrown in there, and I mean, he trusted his cousin and for the whole situation. I mean, it ultimately just led to his death in the end. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I just never really felt too bad for Emma Stone in the situation. Something, I don't know why. And then Jesse Plemons. Yeah, Jesse Plemons. I mean, I felt the more story unlocked about him and his mom's situation, you did feel bad about, and then obviously the cop. So I guess the more you did kind of, but definitely Dawn to me was by far, like, I felt the most pain by just like how much he's just kind of like, and the fact that like he's just sitting at the table while they're arguing, and then all he wants to do is go to the bathroom. So and they're just,
he was the most innocent victim for sure. Yeah.
I think the same thing. Like, obviously Don kind of immediately, Teddy gradually. And I like the fact that, you know, Emma Stone's cat, like, we're essentially, you know, we're not really meant to feel sorry for her, because obviously before we know what she truly is, like, just her kind of like that exaggerated like girl boss sort of stuff when she's like walking through the office and she's like, well, you can leave at 5 p.m., but, you know, if you have work to do, then like
new
I
era.
That was passive aggressive stuff, but I loved it. And like, and, you know, we see like just the town itself, like the building she works in, the house she lives in, they're so like, you know, minimalist and chic, but like kind of grand. And then everything around that in that town is like dilapidated, but she's the wealth in that town. So I kind of love that it's sort of showing that, you know, power play, essentially, which is when she becomes the victim, she's still the one that's like thinks she's in charge. And I think that just sort of speaks to that that mentality that we see with like CEOs and stuff, where it's like they think they're better than everybody. So yeah, I don't think I never felt sorry for Emma Stone's character. I love when she was like negotiating. She's like, this is what's going to happen. But yeah, Don is kind of like the immediate heart of the film. And that was also just because his performance is like incredible, and like hats off to Yorgos for casting an autistic actor to play an autistic character as well.
For sure. Okay, so I also wanted to ask, and this is not serious at all, so if you don't have an answer, that's totally fine. Are there any conspiracies out there that you guys are like into and that you think might be real? And if it's Kate Hudson is going to be nominated for an Oscar, that counts as one too. Is that what you were saying?
No, that is coming from one specific person who I don't want to speak ill, because I do very much enjoy a lot of the content that they produce. I love their website. I love their podcast. I love all the reviews that they write. But I swear to God, they did something like this last year where they just said like, so-and-so is going to get nominated. And then suddenly they were popping up like everywhere.
So
and I was
okay,
like,
you're going to have to text the group chat who this person is.
Oh, I'll tell you after
I
this. I do not want to say it publicly, but I just think like the way they have this, insane. I don't think that anyone landed on the moon. I watched Fly Me to the Moon. I saw Scarlett Johansson in that. I'm buying it. You know what? I don't care if it's real or not. I'm just going to subscribe to that just for shits and gigs.
Love that. Okay. Anyone else? No, don't hold back.
No, I'm not really, to be honest.
Boo.
Yeah, sorry. So
I think the only, and I like, this is the thing. I'm not a. Do I even want to? This is one of those things that I do. I even want to say this, because I'm not a political person at all. Like, I think politics. I'm like, it's like, I know that it should mean something to me, but I'm like, I just zone out. My brain has a capacity.
Because you're in Australia, you lucky son of a
Well,
bee.
that is the other thing. We don't really have a lot of the nonsense here. But I'm just going to say, the ear is no longer that whole thing. No, I'm sorry. Just no. That's
I'm
all
so
I'm
glad
gonna
I
say.
asked this question. Oh my god.
That's all I'm gonna say.
I love
Like,
it.
that ear should not look like that. That's all I'm gonna say. And we know nothing about that person, and we should know everything about that person, and we know nothing about that person. So that's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
I'll split the thing away from politics for a second.
Okay.
Please do.
Just say the more recent thing that I've been seeing all over my TikTok is the conspiracy theory, which fascinates me. Is that Lorde is actually an old woman? Have you guys seen
I haven't seen that.
Not old, but like she's supposed to be like in her 20s, and people are like, when she like if you look at her birth certificate that that actually was leaked online, she's actually almost 50. So it's just like people.
Well, like it was funny how you were like, Lorde's actually old, and it's like one of those things where you go, yeah, now people say they're in their 30s, and
I know.
Like,
yeah,
it's like the amount of photos that I see of like, it'll be like an actress, and they'll be like, oh, can you believe she's 35? And we're like, what do you think 35 looks like? Like, come
the
on.
internet makes me feel like I'm 1,000 years old.
But yeah, I've heard the Lorde thing as well, and I'm just like, well, I mean, does it? I'm like, it's funny to think that it's the same thing with the Avril Lavigne thing, where they think that she passed away and was given a
cloned.
double.
Yeah.
And it's like, and yeah, and
I mean, same with Jamie Foxx. That was actually one that I was like, what the hell
weird.
is that about?
That was weird. Yeah.
I haven't heard Jamie Foxx is
several years ago, or like 2 years ago, like where he
when he had his health issues.
Yeah, he had like a heart attack or a stroke, and then he like had Nick Cannon replace him on that show for like a whole season, and then like there was no health updates whatsoever, and then all of a sudden he just was at a party.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and all the headlines were like he's literally like on his deathbed. They were very sensationalized. Like he's probably not going to pull through this, guys, and then suddenly he was fine.
And then he makes that fucking Netflix movie with
Yes.
Cassie. Why did she have to come back and it was that? I love
that's when Jamie Foxx got sick, though. So maybe that's what caused him to get sick.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Bringing it back to the movie for a second, I thought that there was one line in there that was like so perfect, where Jesse Plemons' character is talking to Emma Stone, and he's like, "Your features are too perfect. There's no way that you are a 45-year-old woman."
Yes.
And that was hilarious to me because Emma Stone is not 45.
No.
She's 36. And her character just goes like, "I follow a very strict anti-aging regimen." And it was so hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Like perfect writing in that moment.
Mm-hmm. Very funny. Very funny.
And I think it's also playing into the fact that, like, she popped up at some event and everyone was like, what has she done? And it's like, obviously she's going to have an amazing skin regime, and she's going to have a few little.
They're all getting that eyelid lift. Every single one of them.
But it was just funny that there was that one photo of her and everyone just went, she doesn't look like Emma Stone. And then there was like another photo and they're like, no, she does.
She does, yeah.
But it's, but it's like, it's the film commenting on a lot of different things that shouldn't, like, that are just unnecessary. But that line got one of like the biggest laughs, because like, it's 45 again. 45 isn't old. As someone who's in their 40s, I'm like, oh. And it hurts me.
No, I mean, it's not. But like, also, Emma Stone is 10 years younger than that. And there's a big difference there's 10 years is a big difference. Transparently, someone at the bar this weekend thought that I was 40. And as someone who is 10 years younger than that, I was livid. So it's just like a very funny dichotomy between the two.
I can understand. Yeah, I can understand that.
The goalpost always moves based on like as you get older. You know,
oh, that was the first time that happened to me, so it was a little bit of a shock. I have been mistaken for older before, but not by that much. 10 years was the biggest jump I've had. I was like, oh god.
I'm just very curious, like how that even came about. Like,
Yeah.
because they're like,
Yeah, what
you're
conversation
40?
leads to that 40-year-old dude at the bar?
Well, he had said he was 40, and he asked me where I grew up, and he said that I looked like someone he went to high school with. And I was like, oh my god, I'm not 40. What are you thinking?
Okay.
All right.
How had he had a lot to drink at that point?
This is not podcast related. We'll talk later.
Okay. Well, just very quickly, mine is I don't think Britney is free. I still think she's being controlled. That's my conspiracy theory. Someone needs to save Britney.
I love her so much, and I'm just like, can we? I know, like it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. It's like she needs help. She needs help, but the right people aren't helping her.
But I will say, karma got Kevin Federline's book.
Yes.
Hard.
What a loser. Yeah.
The worst.
Not many people on Earth who I would say I enjoy watching them fail, but he's one of the few. All right, well, that was fun.
I'll end it on one of my favorite conspiracy theories. I guess there's two of them, but one, I guess they're almost the same, is that Paul Rudd does not age, and Keanu Reeves is immortal / a vampire. You know, either one.
I will say, so, and this is me, like, I was like, I didn't want to name drop, but like, I saw Keanu Reeves in person at TIFF.
Mm-hmm.
He was looking like, quote unquote, his age.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh, wow. Like, you just always think of him kind of looking youthful-esque.
40. Yeah.
Like,
Forever 40.
And he looked like, I was like, you look like a actual, like, man in your 50s.
Mm-hmm.
But, yes, Paul Rudd, standing in front of Paul Rudd, it's just like, fuck you.
Yeah.
I had a pretty similar experience with another like large name actor, probably about 7 or 8 years ago. And I hadn't seen any of this large name actor's like films before. I was working with his daughter, honestly. So he came to visit her one day. She was an actor in a play I was working on. And I went up to him like as they were chatting, or I went up to her as they were chatting. I told her she did really good. I turned to him. I was like, your daughter's so incredible to work with. Really, really love her. And then he was like, oh, thanks so much. And then introduced himself. And I walked away. I was like, I'll see you at the cast party. Just wanted to say hi super quick. And when I walked away, all of the other people were like, oh my God, why'd you just do that? Do you know who you just talked to? And I was like, yeah, her dad. Like, I don't know. But very similar. He looked like a dad. He looked like a guy in his 50s or 60s.
Well, I want to know.
And then I saw, I'll tell you afterwards.
Okay,
I'm not going to name
I'm
drop these
writing
people.
down everything we need to talk about after.
But yeah, I saw one of his big films, probably the next year, later that year, and he looked very young on screen. I was like, that is not how he looks in person. So there is some movie magic that goes in there.
Okay.
I will say, I feel like, and it could just be, I guess this is a controversial actor to bring up in general these days, but I think that one of the actors that I remember, he's the same age as my dad. And I always used to tell my dad, I'm like, why does he look so much younger than you? But now I'm like, he looks older than you. So that's good. And that's Johnny Depp. Something happened with Johnny, and I don't know if it's the court situation and the whole thing, but I
think he's always been a pretty heavy drinker. I think that tends to age you.
When you said controversial actor who doesn't look their age, I was like, oh, it's Tron. Aries. That's who I was going.
Yeah, that's true.
Because admittedly, he looks incredible. Like, I'll give him that.
Yeah. Yep. Nope. I agree. He's, you say what you will about him. He does not look his age. So.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Should we do final thoughts? Does anyone have like anything else to say on Bugonia?
I don't have really anything else to say about this particular film, but I am curious after we go through just kind of like our final thoughts on this about just what our favorite Yorgos film is, and I guess just kind of like what, if it's okay, what's the least favorite, or in your personal opinion. But let's do final thoughts first. Yeah, I got nothing to say.
It's all been said. Yeah. Okay. Well, so you said you wanted to do favorite and least favorite?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and say like my favorite is, for me, for sure, Poor Things. But I'm still iffy about Poor Things. But like I think it's a little too long. But it's definitely, to me, the most stylistic one that I can get down with. And I think, to me, and obviously we all have different opinions, but I think her performance in Poor Things stood out more than in this film. But that's just me. And then my least favorite, by far, is Kinds of Kindness. I did not care for that at all. I think it's like four shorts, an anthology thing, and I think one of them I was like, oh, that's good. The rest of them I'm like, can this just end? But
I would say I'm with you. I don't think I even finished Kinds of Kindness because it just was not for me. But no, yeah, I would say favorite is definitely Bugonia. Like I said, I just thought it was really fun and insane. And I loved that, like, they went there with that ending. I thought it was really ballsy, and I love that they just, he brought it all the way home, and I respect it. So yes, that's my take on it. Begonia's my fave.
Wait.
Yes.
I apologize. I have a final thought.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because I meant to ask this earlier, and then now we're circling back. The end of the film, she pops the bubble, and I believe that was like, the ozone layer or whatever. But so I was like, oh, okay. Of course, all the oxygen's gone. But then you see animals. So I'm like, so that confused me.
I think it was just her killing all the humans.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think it was kind of symbolic. I don't think it was like actual like the air or anything like that. I think that just represented like all the people gone.
Okay, yeah. Gotcha.
That's how I saw it. Yeah.
What about you, Peter?
I don't think I had any final thoughts, just because I feel like I've said everything. I very much appreciated the bleakness of this movie. Favorites. So I really liked Poor Things. I really liked The Favorite. The Lobsters, I don't know, The Lobster's really great. Killing of a Sacred Deer is really great. So I think Poor Things and The Favorite are probably the top two. And even though it's one of the things, I appreciated Kinds of Kindness, but it probably is my least favorite. But it's not like, one, like, like a 1-star sort of thing. Like I really actually like kind of like, yeah, I think I appreciate Kinds of Kindness more than I like it. But I just appreciate the fact that he did something so like divisive with that film. Like the screening that I went to, I think I saw like a dozen people walk out with like the finger part, and I was like, yeah, like I just kind of love that cinema is still pissing people off. It's what we need to happen. But yeah, so I think Kinds of Kindness would be the lower end, but The Favorite and Poor Things would be the top two, even though I think pretty much all of his films are kind of like amazing.
I do think that it was a bold choice to have like the which even this one had it's very like, what the hell's going on in the trailers? But I just like that the Kinds of Kindness was just Emma Stone dancing in a parking lot. That was the trailer.
That song that they played to it was like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be vulgar again. That song was so cunt. I was like, oh my god. And I started listening to that artist afterwards, and all of my friends are like, Tyler, you just like the gay, like like, vulgar music.
Is it
I'm
a
like,
podcast with Tyler if he doesn't say cunt at one point? Like, I feel like
you know what? I love that song. I've started listening to that artist more frequently, and like, thank you, Yorgos Lanthimos, for introducing me to that artist.
That also proves that you are not 40 because that song is...
Because I have good taste in music.
But that song is old.
No, I'm too.
So it's like, there you go. Amazing song, I agree. But
wait, are we talking about the same one? I'm talking about Brand New Bitch by Cobra.
Oh, right. Okay, no.
Well, what are you talking about, Peter?
I was talking like Eurythmic song that they used in that.
Oh, we saw different trailers. We saw very different trailers.
All right, what about you, Tyler? What's your favorite and least favorite? Because we've established you don't really like any of them, but...
Yeah, I think my favorite is kind of by default because it's the only one that I enjoy. It's the favorite. And I really haven't enjoyed any of his other films. I did not see Kinds of Kindness because I just didn't really have any interest in seeing it. It wasn't getting much Oscar buzz. I was like, I'm not going to force myself to watch this movie that I don't really care to see to begin with. And Bugonia did intrigue me with the trailer. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll give this one a chance. But I really haven't liked any of his movies. None of them have made me feel as terrible as Poor Things did. I walked out of that movie feeling viscerally sick, and I was very, very upset about that movie. So I know that's controversial, but I really, really hate that movie.
No, I had to force myself to appreciate it. I'm still very on the fence about it, and I felt really out on my own with that opinion, even just being kind of in the middle of the road.
It's very controversial, and it's one that I do not want to get into because I know that other people will rip me apart for like my opinions, and I'm at the point where I'm like, you know what? That's how I feel. So be it.
Yeah, totally. And that's how it should always be,
I was gonna say, like, I think it's great that we've had varying opinions on this film. We've had varying opinions on his other films, and no one has been like, you're wrong. Like, it sucks when you feel like I don't like a movie. I'm like, and it's fine. Yeah. And it's like, you like something that I don't like.
I meant to tell you all that you're all wrong.
Yeah. that's his final thought is we're all idiots.
That's where you literally just don't even say goodbye. You're just like, you're all wrong. Done.
Yeah, no, I agree though. Like, that's why we do this, right? Like, if everyone thought the same about everything, how boring would that be? There'd be no film criticism. There'd be no movie podcasts, and life would be so boring. Okay, here we go. Thank you for listening to the Cinefied Podcast. You can find more of our episodes as well as all of our written reviews, interviews, and retrospectives on cinefied.com. And be sure to follow us on Letterboxd as well as all major social media platforms to stay up to date with our reviews. Now pop some popcorn, grab a drink, and remember to stay cinefied.